before we get back into the game. This Jack Harlow situation. Oh, I got a new YouTube subscriber. Thank you, whoever that was. Thank you. I heard that
within the next.
I heard that Shawn Cee's breakdown of he's in a Kango. Man's is in a Kango hat. I don't know if I've seen these shapes though. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. So before we get into the game, I really want to see this takedown. I'm like, we got 15 minutes. I know it's going to be a little longer than 15 minutes, but we got it right. We got it right before Benji's going to be tossing tables in here. The chimney sweep hat.
7 to 10 minutes.
Yo.
I'm going to hopefully
7 to 10.
find the words necessary
Okay.
to explain my disdain for Jack Harlow, the artist.
Okay.
This is
Tell
not
us.
a hate video.
Okay.
Contrary to popular belief, that is not what this is about.
Okay.
I actually want to commend Jack Harlow for
Bravery.
being such a likable guy.
Oh.
Despite his mediocrity since his infancy. I want it to be known
not
that before you listen to
lifelong.
my words, I have not liked anything Jack Harlow. If his name is in front of it, I'm out of the door. If I
What?
see his face, I'm turning around. If he speaks, I am deaf. If he is in front of me, I am blind. Before I move forward, I need to let you know.
But then part of me is like, how can you have a real breakdown of the man if you are unable to consume anything that he does? But maybe that's a part of this. Let's see.
Oh, Monica, trash. White folks association in hip hop always reminds me of the black love interest trope. I'm sure we've all had a TV show that we watch.
By the way, oh my gosh, not me not knowing her name. She is so iconic. Oh my goodness. I just heard it looks like she was the only black person or the only black love interest on Friends. And now I think I'm mixing her up with another black woman. Oh my goodness, please don't cancel me. Because I'm like, maybe that was actually your girl from the Cheer movie from the 90s. No. Okay.
When we were growing up, that featured a black love interest in an all-white cast.
Okay, so maybe I'm not wrong. Hold on. And apparently the story went that the producers, like she did I don't think it's her. I feel like he might be mixing up the story too. But the person who was, no, he's mixing it up too. It's your girl from the Cheer movie, Bring It On, from back in the day. Gabrielle Union, I think she was the only love interest on Friends. Okay, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. And the producer, she actually came out in a video and said, I think I was the only black love interest on the show. And then the producers went back through all of the archives, and then they actually had to confirm it because they wanted to be like, oh, there's no way. No, there's a complete way.
Typically with no greater understanding of the character beyond we're inclusive and we're progressive because here's a black co-star or a black regular that's heavily associated with our protagonist. Any understanding or contextualization of how this black character fits within the world outside of the context of just being the partner to the white protagonist is never explored. They typically exist not as trophies, but as check marks. A green light to the production team signaling, at least we got to that. This does not mean that I want Jack Harlow to start going over the intricacies of where black music came from and how black people came to dominate said genre or whatever the case may be. I just find it funny how many non-black people have this phase with black culture. This slight infatuation, whether authentic or not, that typically ends with the non-black individual receiving some level of
Aisha Taylor. Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you so much.
praise or acknowledgement for even including this within their story. This might be funny at first until you realize that this is a white boy releasing an R&B centric album named Monica. Jack Harlow's consumed enough black culture to know the look of the thing that he's emulating on this album. From the clothing, the gloomy atmosphere. He tries to set up a stage of intimacy here. But a part of me, in looking at what he's done, he kind of he's trying to do
our boy in the UK. Because the gloomy, quote unquote, atmosphere, that's very, why can't I think of anybody's name tonight? The UK, y'all are like, what am I singing? They're on your own in a world you've grown 2 years too ago. I'm like, his name is not Jack, but it's a white guy who does like soul adjacent music. But he's really respected because he really legitimately loves soul and hip hop, and he studied it. Like he studied D'Angelo growing up, and now he also can be this very white guy who's respected in this. And I think he's trying to be kind of like him, but he is leaning, I think, a bit farther into a caricature of soul instead of this other guy. Who's the other guy? Fat Keys. Who am I talking about? Alexa, who made the song Retrograde? James Blake. I'm like, I knew James Blake out here. James Blake still is like a white guy. He doesn't come across as trying to emulate the dress, the style of clothes, and, you know, all of that. He's not overly becoming a character out here. So I think that's also where Jack is kind of going wrong
throughout the project. And while I don't necessarily need him to be a master of this sound, I do need him to have a little bit more respect than to come off as someone who maybe watched Love Jones for the first time and is obsessed with the movie now. And everything Jack Harlow does comes off as cheap imitation or off-brand. And you can get away with that lack of genuine connection and soul when it comes to hip-hop music because it's easier to cosplay. Hip-hop has a majority white audience. It's consumed by a lot of white people. The barking that you're going to get is more than likely going to be from purists or people who really, really love the genre. This isn't to say white people don't enjoy hip-hop to a point where they could be considered purists either. I'm just saying due to how much white people dominate the general fan base of hip-hop, the worst hip-hop fan you know is more than likely a white guy. Before that Come Home, The Kids Miss You album, Jack Harlow was praised as everything but the second coming of Nas, getting high praise and much support from some very respected voices in music off the back of songs like Nail Tech and What's Poppin'. My point being that he can't get away with being mediocre in this genre.
Well, the other thing is let me not even say if, since the majority consumers of rap music are white men, when a white guy comes along, they are going to have a really great likelihood of blowing up very fast. Because we also, like I said before, we don't really gatekeep as a culture who's going to do different things in our culture. We somewhat do. Yeah, we do. Especially if you're problematic is my next point. Like, become problematic, we're going to gatekeep that thing. But otherwise, you know, just like Serial Sensei was saying earlier, the cookout is kind of open. Like, it's, you know, we're excited for people to embrace our culture because our culture has been shunned and, you know, silenced for so long that there's a part of us that feels that pride in doing something that other groups then honor and want to be a part of and then want to make their identity. That's a really, really big deal. But back to the thing, if you are white when the majority are white in the consumers, it's a natural thing. Just in like, psychology, they may more likely be like, oh, well, let me give him a listen because he looks like me. Like if I have a woman from North Carolina who is doing, you know, some type of music that I'm doing or that I love, I'm going to be the first in line, or not the first, but I'll try to be early. We're getting earlier with listening to music, but I would want to, you know, check it out, see what she's talking about, see what it's gonna be.
The way that he did in hip hop, because I believe it has a higher ceiling of respectability. When you're trying to fuse jazz and soul and R&B, the stage that you create for yourself is so much more intimate. There's almost nothing to hide behind. At one point during this interview, Jack Harlow is giving himself and being given credit for not shying away from black culture, but instead diving deeper into it, where his white contemporaries typically...
Wait, what is the chat's kind of there, but is this an AI picture? Does this man have waves? Or maybe it's just the lighting. I don't know what's happening.
Fall back into either country or pop music expression. Jack Harlow's remedy...
And wait, what's this? Okay, I don't know my cuts definitions but is this a Caesar right here? This is a fake picture, right? This isn't real, right? Ooh, whoops.
Confusion into it, where his white contemporaries typically fall back into either country or pop music expression. Jack Harlow's remedy to his artistic confusion and potential buildup of his confidence comes from being even more brazen with his appropriation. Jack Harlow's journey throughout hip-hop kind of mirrors the average white hip-hop fan. Again, I'm not saying all, but the average. A few years ago, Jack Harlow was given this...
He's not that bold for his loyalty. Okay, thank you. I don't know. We're learning today. We are learning today.
This music quiz, essentially, on Hot 97 when it was still a thing. And it was during this fun little art quiz that it was revealed to us that Jack Harlow had never known that Brandy and Ray J were siblings. Now, the world at the time was kind of ragging on him for not knowing that Brandy and Ray J were siblings.
And he's going to be like, but that's, that's a deep cut in black culture to know that. Okay. But it still is something that's so interesting for you to be so close to the culture and not know, one of the most famous of siblings in the entire culture. It's kind of like being like, I didn't know Solange and Beyonce are siblings because they do different things and you don't always see them together. And, I would also be like, oh, wow, do you really listen to soul music if you didn't know who Solange is and who she's related to? Which is, that's another layer. And I know there are people who just listen to the music and know nothing else beyond what they hear as music.
How have you never seen Moesha? And how have you never heard a Brandy album? Blah, 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 blah. But in that quiz or in that back and forth, Ebro plays Jack Harlow some legendary R&B and soul music. And I believe Jack Harlow only correctly identifies one song out of the 5 or so that he plays. In this most recent interview where he...
And I think my oldest brother, who's the jazz musician, I think this is what he wanted to protect me from. Because I started to sing jazz in high school and I was singing Amy Winehouse, and my brother was like, well, don't you want to listen to the people who inspired her? And then I went on a deep dive into Sarah Vaughan, and then Sarah Vaughan became my favorite jazz vocalist. And there's something very important about, even when you're doing modern music, that you understand where it came from so that you get even more authentic. You learn from more authentic places and sources and foundational pieces of the art instead of just hopping on a derivative of a derivative of a derivative. And it's so watered down by the time you are performing that you may not even understand the depth of emotion that came before that thing, especially in Black American music. It is very based on some really heavy, deep things. And then if you just make it into, I'm going to just make something that sounds cool, you're going to lose a lot of people potentially because you're not going to connect with them. And in this genre and in this culture that is so affected by so many things. So, yeah. Do your research out here when you're doing music at high levels,
claims
especially.
He got blacker. He also claims to love R&B music.
What?
And I believe Jack Harlow only correctly identifies one song out of the 5 or so that he plays. In this most recent interview where he claims he got blacker, he also claims to love R&B music. And it'd be one thing if during those songs that he didn't correctly identify when he was played those records by Ebro years ago was underscored with I've heard this song before, but I just don't know the name of it. But there were some records that, again, are legendary records that he just seemed to have no response to. Frankie Beverly's Before I Let Go, or Where I Wanna Be from Donnell Jones. Jones, Angel in Disguise from Brandy. My point is R&B always.
But those are not songs that necessarily people are going to have easy access to. You have to go to like a black family reunion. You got to go to an actual literal cookout. Like you literally have to be in a place where the DJ grew up on that song. Okay. That's not just gonna randomly fall into place, but that also means maybe he hasn't been really around people in the culture to get the deep cuts on what we all have grown up on as well.
Comes before hip hop for the average black person. I would argue the first piece of music that most
Is this more Photoshop? What is this hat?
black kids are introduced to is within the church in gospel records.
Yeah.
So I'm not using that quiz that Jack Harlow failed as an indignation against his musical knowledge. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but that's not necessarily the point that I'm going for. The point that I'm going for is a lack of understanding of black culture in general. What you mean to say is you have an infatuation with the aesthetic of black culture, but
and what you think it is instead of knowing what it actually is.
Genuine love or an appreciation for it, no. How could you if you don't know what the art form that gave you life derives from? When you were growing up, R&B, blues, jazz, gospel were central parts of your life. They were backdrops to important and mundane things. It was a part of you. Dare I say, hip-hop and rap music was the least played thing in plenty of black households.
That is true too. Funny enough, that's why it's so funny how there's so much of an idea of it being so central to our culture fully. I mean, we created that thing, but culturally, with us also being a very spiritual group, we might be one of the most Christian groups in America. Last I heard, we were. And so a lot of us grew up in the church. And so even my mother, when I was an adult, I said, Mama, did you know we were listening to hip hop when you weren't at home? And she's like, oh, my poor baby. I did not know that. Because I don't know what she thought we were listening to, by the way. Like, did she think maybe she thought we were listening to gospel also while she wasn't there? But we were listening to the radio, and the radio was then feeding into these households the music that they wanted us to believe was our culture. When in many ways they were manufacturing a culture to then give back to us and to have people believe was our culture, when we know deep down, based on a lot of our experiences, that this is not the thing that most of us have experienced in a lot of the popular things that were on radio. So yes, that's very interesting.
But when you have a branch or a piece of black culture at a mainstream and even a little bit below that surface has been gentrified to such an extent and made accessible to such a wide variety, you often lose the cultural context. So they aren't likely to be as big of fans of R&B or to have had those lived experiences through culture alone. Jack Harlow is trying to force a space for himself in an area where he has no cultural value and even worse, cultural awareness. Again, to the fan of who Jack Harlow has been, his lack of cultural value actually works to his benefit considering where we are in hip hop right now. But with a less culturally understood and a less culturally consumed genre that's still at its core, people aren't far removed enough from the classics enough to let the gentrification skate by as easily. Jack Harlow is quite literally a polar bear in Atlanta. And if he were dedicated to this pivot, with the lack of vocal talent...
What does that even mean? He's a polar bear in Atlanta? Because also 6 months ago or so, maybe now 8 months, time is flying, it came out that Atlanta's not even majority black anymore. So I don't know if that was a polar bear because he's white. I don't know what that meant.
This man displays all over Monica. He 100% is going extinct. The same way those black love interests.
Okay. It was not about race, or not, which race doesn't exist. Hold on. It was not about him being white. He's more so saying he's going to. A polar bear living in the hot Atlanta is not going to survive, is what he's trying to say, or what he did say. Okay. Got it.
Or people aren't far removed enough from the classics enough to let the gentrification skate by as easily. Jack Harlow is quite literally a polar bear in Atlanta. And if he were dedicated to this pivot, with the lack of vocal talent that this man displays all over Monica, he 100% is going extinct. The same way those black love interests in those all-white TV shows weren't given any value outside of how they served the white protagonist's life or their obstacle, is the exact same way Jack Harlow and white hip-hop fans have treated black culture when consuming hip-hop music at a mainstream level for years now. I could imagine this album being explained to his children one day as an attempt to get a girl that he was into, so he pretended to be into neo soul for a while. I don't appreciate the attempt, and I can't imagine anything other than an imposter on this album. Two kids standing on top of one another to appear like an adult inside of a trench coat type vibe. As a rapper, Jack Harlow sounded like Drake on his best day and Big Sean on his worst. You mean to tell me this guy developed the vocal capability that will be required to carry a sound like this for only 9 tracks? You mean to tell me this is the guy who's got the voice that's going to be able to carry this minimalist style production for 9 songs straight? Oh, he's not? The thing that absolutely blows my mind about this project is I don't know who it is for. Jack Harlow built his audience off of being that white nigga that can rap. The black folks that co-signed him off the back of what's popping. Yeah, you niggas, I remember you, okay? You disgust me. You disgust me. People that became fans of that Jack Harlow and continued to stay somewhat loyal up through Jackman, I doubt will be the same people that will be receptive to this pivot on Monica. With the lack of vocal versatility that Jack Harlow displays on this project.
Oh, gosh. And here's the thing. It's like, Shawn Cee, like I've not seen him do a reaction to an album for just like a singer. And I feel like he's also doing this because he was a rapper. Now I guess he's a singer. And so I'm like, man, I wonder as a singer how I'm going to feel about hearing it with even Shawn Cee saying, oh, it's terrible. Like, I wonder, will I also feel it's so, I mean, I might feel it's even worse than that, but I do have a lot of sympathy toward people trying to sing, and people who want to get into singing. And I'm also really flexible with artists pivoting. We just talked about Music Soul Child being the hustle and doing the opposite and going into rap. So there's a part of me that's going to be like, oh, like he's trying to do a new thing. But we might have to listen to the album. And as I'm listening to this, I'm like, oh, Shawn Cee listened to the whole album. I wonder if he reacted to it and put up the reaction to the album online, or if he was just so upset that he could only do a think piece. He could only do an essay on here. Okay? My goodness. Seti Mac, you said you didn't even want to listen. Didn't want to finish the first song, Seti. Yo. Oh, can we listen to it? Yes, Rome, we're going to have to. I'm about to be like, Seti, which one song should we listen to? Seti won't know. Seti won't know. So how about we start with the first song, and we'll see. And I'll try to like guess where Seti had to call it. It felt really lackluster. Not lackluster. Not lackluster. Ayo. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Rome. We're going to listen to the first song. We're going to do that. He said he couldn't even get vocally by like how, like Black or Bryson Tiller does. But I like Black singing. I love it. I love it. He's one of my favorites, which... Why haven't I listened to a Black album when I've loved some of his songs so dearly? Okay, we might have to do that. We might have to. Wow.
I find it hard to believe that he would even sell out a show or have a successful tour with music like this. That TikTok virality and potential Billboard success isn't something that I think will be achieved with a project like this. And I could give Jack credit. Maybe he's not chasing those things. Maybe he doesn't care about it anymore. But I feel like the type of people that would support this type of music from Jack Harlow will praise it because it's something different from what they're used to, as opposed to it being expressed well, performed well, written well. The only thing I can give Jack Harlow credit for on this project is the backdrop. The music is about what I would expect or what I would want from a regular neo soul record. It's drenched in that style and the aesthetic all the way through. It reminds me a lot of D'Angelo. And from a production point of view, I think he actually grabs onto some people that have some weight in the field. I don't think his ear is whack. I don't think his ear is trash. I wish he allowed the hands of the people that he asked to help for the project to have a heavier hand in it, but it feels like Jack Harlow created something that he genuinely identifies with. Something that might make expressing himself through this medium significantly easier as opposed to
So, and that's what I'm saying. If there feels like some type of authenticity to even him, even if it's not authentic to the genre, but it feels like pure to him, then that will sway me in how I feel about it.
to the braggadocio that he was drenched in a couple years ago. The stage for vulnerability is set, but the person who sets it doesn't know what to say or how to express it.
Like, this was my problem with Jack Harlow when it came to hip-hop music, was that, like, he didn't have enough depth to add anything to the genre that he's emulating. And, like, his remedy to that was to switch genres again and not add enough depth to the genre that he's emulating. The area that I'm a foreigner in, how can I explore this and add to it in a way that is personal to me, that doesn't just feel like I'm highlighting, you know, every piece of every note, you know what I'm saying, and presenting it to like a professor and just like switching out a couple of lines to make it seem as if I'm not necessarily plagiarizing. Like, that's what I feel like at this point, because I'm just struggling to see his identity again. Like, this is falling back into the same issue that I was having with Jack, man. He's not the worst stand-in, but a stand-in, it feels like.
And it's only 28 minutes and it's 9 songs. So this feels like an experimental record of him trying to do a thing. Oh yeah, this is very James Blake with the Blur, you know.
Where's the star at? Where's the person that all of this revolves around? Is what I'm looking for, and I don't think Jack is the one.
I hate to impose or disrupt your lifestyle.
You hate to impose?
That seemed interesting.
It don't look like it. Like, there's no spark. You're taking music like this without, and there's no spark to it. There's no spirit. There's no emotion. There's no flair. There's no nothing. It's just
same feeling.
Blah. The writing is blah. The emotion is blah. The expression is blah.
But my thing is, how does he feel about other soul or jazz? Because that little piece I just heard, I was like, that's interesting. It completely have no other context around it. But does he think jazz is blah? Does he think other parts of soul or neo soul are blah? Or does he think it's supposed to be like the R&B that's going to be a little more lively, like Bryson Tiller, like someone mentioned? You know, Fat Keys. I have no... Has he labeled what it is yet? Oh my goodness. And you know what's so funny? He's at Atlantic, which is also the label that I used to work for. Well, I worked for the parent company over Atlantic, which is the Warner Music. And I'm just thinking about how they let so many black people go. I mean, they let a lot of people go, but a lot of actual people who understood music, a lot of us were let go in the layoffs that they had. And I'm like, maybe because they were gearing up to do some stuff like this. And my friend, who was a director of A&R at Atlantic, I wonder if he would have been okay with this coming out of his label. But now he's not there either. And so I'm just like, they wanted to do some funny stuff and they didn't want us there to say, this is not good. This is not great.
The color is blah. I listen to music and sometimes I'll be seeing colors for every now and again. I don't see nothing but like a gray hue. It's like a gray cloudy day with every piece of or every record I've heard so far, with the exception of Move Along or All My Friends. You know, like I can't get it. I don't feel it. Composition, structure is sensible. Like all of that to me makes sense for the style that he's going with for this album. It does have a theme sonically, it does. But as far as Jack is concerned, interchangeable, or just take him out and put somebody else. And it's not a disdain or a dislike for Jack. It's not. It's really just on some...
The art itself
like
is not great.
Is somebody there. It's way it started to feel disrespectful after a while. Like either you know you're bad and you're doing it on purpose just to show that you can do whatever the fuck you want and you are still going to garner some level of attention.
That's a bit of entitlement though too.
You genuinely think that this is the best option and you think because they didn't appreciate you as a rapper, they'll appreciate you as like a jazzy, early R&B emulator. And I don't think that that's what's happening here either. I just don't think artistically Jack Harlow has much to give. And I've tried to give him, like I said, grace in the raps, try to give him grace in, the whatever this is supposed to be, the romantic to an extent, no Bruno Mars shade, but like I feel like it's a similar vein where those who don't want to hear music that's being emulated are gonna maybe listen through Jack and be like, oh, this is a good substitute or good enough so that I don't have to ever listen to where he takes from. Just some regular Elvis shit. Like it happens too frequently, and in this case it's done so poorly, at least from the perspective of there being someone to look at, a performer for you to.
But by the way, you said probably why you called it Monica. But my only thing is Monica doesn't make neo soul. You're talking about like Brandy and Monica, right? Monica doesn't make neo soul. She makes R&B. So that's where it's like, is that what you're referring to? He said, but also this guy knows little about real music. Fat Keys, that's also a part of this, right? I'm like, oh, that's your point, Seti. Please. Seti, what? But that's Fat Keys. That's also what I was saying that earlier too. Like, is he referring to Monica? But now that's funny for him to call it neo soul, but name it after an R&B singer. That would be wild. And there's no song on the album that's called Monica to give us more perspective on who that is. But you're gonna call out, because he couldn't call it Brandy. At least Brandy, we could be like, oh, he's talking about a nighttime or a drink, right? No, Monica is near and dear to so many people's hearts who love this stuff. And so he knew he was going to get our attention as well. But that's a really, really funny point, Seti, that he would just mess it up like that. Also, not even thinking, because it could have been marketing, like, oh, they love Monica, so I'm going to say Monica. But it could be that he didn't realize that she's not neo soul, but he thought, like, he could be just confused, right? You think he was saying the other Monica, Lewinsky? Oh, Monica. Who's that?
Go see.
Wait, is he making somebody up?
It's done so like boring that everybody that he features with, even background vocalists, are a break to the monotony that is Jack Harlow. And they're not even there long. It's a very small, slight addition.
Fat Keys, no. Fat Keys, I'm gonna like toss my computer off my deck. Fat Keys.
To a background vocalist. It's a very small feature on the halfway point of a song.
About to
and all of a
launch
sudden your ear is instantly like perked up and you're like, who the fuck is that? Because you've been listening to this or I don't know.
Fat Keys, I'm so disturbed. I'm so disturbed. What? Fat Keys, please say something. Say something, Fat Keys. Okay, you want to be right. Fat Keys, do you really want to be wrong? I think you want to be right, Fat Keys. Fat Keys, I think you want to be right. Okay. But play the record. Oh goodness, we might have to. Maybe not tonight, but it looks like we're gonna have to go through because it's only 28 minutes. I can do nearly anything.
4 and 5 minutes
with
at
music,
3 or 4 or 5 minutes at a time. Because this isn't gonna be your safe space moving forward. If this album don't work for Jack, he's pivoting to something else. And that's really my issue with people who do things like this is their dedication to it is dependent upon how much success they have within it. And I know for a fact.
And I'm so upset, Seti. The first song is called Trade Places. Who's trading places? What are the experiences of the two people that are trading places?
That to me at least seems like what it seemed to be for hip hop when it came, or it seemed to be the case for Jack Harlow when it came to hip hop. And I know, or at least I believe, he does not have the depth to
Larrell, be so safe,
take
please.
the lashes socially that is going to end up that he's going to have to take to refine this to where it needs to be for him to be considered a great in it. I don't believe that for a second. I don't. You can call that cynical, which you be maybe correct in. I just don't believe it. I really don't. I don't know what it is I don't know what it is that you like about it. Maybe there's something, some.
Oh, I love that I've been talking about James Blake in comparing Jack Harlow to what he's trying to do. And I guess maybe it's too obvious, but I just noticed there's people in the chat like James Blake time, James Blake, please, Shawn. So maybe they convinced him to listen to James Blake. If he's never listened to James Blake, I'm gonna be like, oh my goodness, he's in for a treat. I mean, and it's some of my favorite things were from a long time ago, but I think they might be kind of timeless to me, at least.
Level of like novelty or some level of like attractiveness or allure within the simplicity of it, within the consistency of it, within the calmness of it.
Becky's, I so want to be wrong. No, I feel like deep down we need you to be wrong. Fat Keys. It's not even a want. We need you to be wrong, but there is something deep in me that's like, how wild would it be? But we'd never know. Like, he could never come out and say it. He would never say it. He'd never say it. Yes, Sadie, I love that you like James Blake. I've been such a fan of his for so long. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, James Blake. Oh yeah, since 2008, I've been a fan of James Blake's. Oh my goodness. I became obsessed in July of 2008. Or was it June? I think it was June 2008. The way I can remember the first time I listened to him in my friend's car. He's a bassist in the industry, and he was like, "Oh, you got to listen to this guy, James Blake." And I'm like, "Okay." And yeah, it changed everything for me.
Within the mood or the aesthetic and the theme of it, like maybe you find something there, maybe you find some safety and all of that. I don't know, but for me, I'm listening to it and I'm like, where is the performer? Where is the artist? Where is the guy?
But that's the thing. It's still artistry, and so I'm also a bit of a, I have a wider range of what I probably respect in music too. So it's a little bit of like, I may find some more in it that I'm like, oh, okay, I can see what he's trying to do there.
Who's gonna hold all this together, because the person who claims to do it isn't doing it. Now, what you're about to hear now is not even me vouching. It's just, this is what consistency brings. It brings like a mastery of the craft. It brings like a...
Oh, there's a new James Blake album. There's a new... tomorrow. What y'all doing tomorrow? What y'all doing tomorrow? Y'all didn't tell me. Sadie. I don't even. This is not a drill. You were trying to tell me. Sadie, what? This is one of my favorite artists. I don't want to listen to any more of this video in case he does a spoiler. He's about to play it, isn't he? There's only 10 seconds left, and he's going to play it, isn't he? Benji! Panic! No! Okay, he can't spoil too much in 10 seconds. We don't have any Usher? Fat Keys. No, Usher is in the chat. He said trading places. It's Usher. Usher has been into the chat. Okay, Fat Keys. I'm clever, too. I can be clever.
An artist who knows where they excel, you know what I'm saying? Not somebody that's just trying shit. No hate to Jack Harlow if he just trying shit, but don't just try shit, bro. Refine it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Y'all, I called it. I kind of spoke James Blake into existence is what it feels like. And not into existence. Now, I did not create James Blake, but I've been talking about James Blake from the beginning of talking about James Harlow tonight. Just like, oh, someone who gets it, someone who, is doing it the right way is James Blake before I knew. It was in me. Like, I could feel it. Or something. Mo, thank you for those bits. How are you, Mo? Thank you for those bits. I know it. Yeah, Mo, I feel that is how we feel out here. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. We got to listen to that tomorrow. I'm like, the way I'm ready to wake up first thing in the morning. Did it come out today? By the way, Mo, thank you for those bits, Mo. Mo is side-eyeing us because we were talking about Jack Harlow. I just needed to do some research. I just had to figure out what's going on. Like, what is the situation? Okay. I just wanted to know what's going on. Okay. Now we know what's going on. We're going to listen to this first song. Is the first song Trade Places? Is that the first one? I think it was, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was. Okay. Trade Places. Here we go. One song for now, and we'll probably listen to the whole thing maybe tomorrow. What if we listen to Jack Harlow's album first and then we cleanse the palate and the spirit with James Blake after it tomorrow? Oh, okay. It's giving that he's just doing like R&B and then he put some real instruments behind him and he simplified it to like the essence of a groove, and then he has some like, what are those things, the sticks that you on the snare drum? Like, I think he thought if I just put the then that made it neo soul. Maybe he thinks jazz and R&B makes neo soul. Like, maybe that's what he thinks. Places with inanimate objects so that he can be closer to her. It gives a little bit of a creep, though. At the same time, he's a creep. He's a weirdo. No, I'm not him, but he wants to be the ground that she walk on. He want to be the air she breathe. He want to be the sun in the sky shining. He want to be the moon when she sleep. It's giving mad creeper vibes. There's been so many songs that have done this kind of thing. And we've always say there's a creeper. Like, oh boy, that's like culturally he's nah. Yeah, SETI. Yes, SETI Fat Keys. Cause he's doing that thing like, well, if I just do it, I gotta enunciate it, then I make it in a jazz voice. Have to disagree with you on the Tubi movie quality. This is actually beautifully shot, though. Like, I like the colors, the grade on the film. It's a great camera. Like, I think this is a really, really great visual in the sense of the cinematography of it. How could you, Benji? Because some of that film grain is a stylistic choice instead of it just being like a cheap camera. I think this looks good, though. Music. Oh, okay. Benji. I'm like, this looks great. Okay. Cool. Mumbling like he drunk. And that's also a choice that he wants to be like, I'm gonna be like this because I'm talking like I done drunk off the goose or the douce. These are choices that he's decided on. He's wearing a tomatillo. A what? Isn't that a sauce? Isn't that trying to do something, especially trying to do something new? But oh gosh, I felt like something was taken from me. Like, instead of being energetically like, oh, I feel, even or inspired or in a groove or, ooh, yeah, no, it took so much like mental, spiritual, like energy to just try to figure out what's happening. What am I listening to? What am I feeling? Instead of it being like this natural, like, oh, that's a vibe. And, you know, the lyrics aren't problematic, but the lyrics are a bit funny and a little bit problematic in the sense of, why do you want to be her handrail? Like, the handrail is one of the most disgusting places in public. Like, other than the ground that you walk on, the next worst thing are all handrails. And maybe it, you know, especially even as a woman, I'm like, oh, we want to wipe those down. You got to sanitize those if you're going to touch those. Like, I don't know, man. That was interesting. That was interesting. And we're going to do the whole thing. Yeah, we're going to do the whole thing when we wake up later today-ish. Later today-ish. Yeah. Yeah, he did the easiest route to do something that felt or that seemed like soul. It gives very, you know, modern Blue-Eyed Soul. Very much, he could have done this over like a guitar, like a folk song, and it would have felt almost exactly the same. And so it's just kind of like, he didn't really, I think he's also maybe like a country boy, because we saw one of those visuals up there where it was like a, you know, an area that wasn't really developed, and there's like the basketball net on the garage or something. So I feel like he grew up maybe around a few black people, but in like a majority white area is what it's giving. But he wanted to be like, you know, different by being around the couple of black people in town, in the tiny town he might have grew up in. Okay, I'm making all this up, but this is the vibe he's giving. And he just really wanted to pay it some homage, but he just didn't really grow up in a space that was majority black or around them in their day-to-day, like it's National Geographic. Like, he didn't grow up around us and going to our events that were very culturally relevant is what it's giving. And some of the conversations that we would have and why this sounds kind of scary, you know? So yeah. Yes, Fiji. Hello. Sanitize everything. Yeah, you're germophobic. I feel that, Fiji. How are you? Welcome in here. Hey, we were just hanging out with you the other night. Fiji's also a streamer out here. First time chatting in here. Good to see you. Ray Shawn Cee, what's up? Good to see you. We just went on a deep dive on Jack Harlow. We watched Shawn Cee's breakdown of him, and we're going to listen to the album later today. And then we're going to listen to James Blake. Love it. So excited. But yeah. Yes. Welcome in here, everybody.